Ever pondered over the unique contrast between the feudal systems of Scotland and England? Today, we unravel the intricacies of these historical hierarchies, unveiling their distinctive elements. Linking back to their origins and influences, the English feudal system was majorly molded by the Norman conquest of 1066. This intrusion introduced a more rigid, structured Norman-style feudalism. On the contrary, Scotland's feudalism evolved more progressively, less influenced by the Normans but more by native Celtic and Scandinavian influences, particularly in the Highlands and Islands. Exploring the hierarchy and structure, England's system was more defined and rigid, with the king at the top followed by nobles, knights, and serfs. Scotland, however, had a less rigid structure. Clans, especially in the Highlands, played a significant role, and local lords often held more power relative to the king than their English counterparts. Land tenure in England was based on the feudal principle of tenure in exchange for service, typically military service. In Scotland, land tenure often relied on kinship and clan loyalty in addition to military service. When it comes to the king's authority, English kings had more centralized authority over nobles and land. In Scotland, the king's authority was often weaker, particularly in more remote regions like the Highlands, where clan chiefs had significant autonomy. As for the legal system, England developed a more uniform system with the introduction of common law. Scotland, however, retained a mix of different legal traditions, including Celtic Brecon law in some areas, and later a unique blend of civil and common law. Military obligations in England were more structured and formalized, while in Scotland these obligations were often tied to clan loyalties and could be less formal. In terms of feudal dues and services, English peasants and serfs owed more in terms of labor and dues to their lords. The obligations in Scotland could vary significantly, with some regions having more burdensome demands than others. Cultural differences also played a part. The English feudal system was influenced by a more homogenized Norman culture. In Scotland, cultural diversity, including Gaelic, Norse, and Norman influences, led to a more varied feudal experience. Parliamentary development in England began earlier, affecting how feudal lords interacted with the monarchy. The concept of a parliament developed later in Scotland and was influenced by different political dynamics. Finally, in terms of land distribution and use, English land was more intensively farmed, and there was a greater emphasis on agriculture. In Scotland, land use was often dictated by geography, with pastoralism being more important in the Highlands. In conclusion, appreciating these differences is crucial to understanding the distinct historical paths that Scotland and England took during the medieval period. These unique trajectories have shaped the diverse cultural and political landscapes that we observe in each country today.